We all know this Simpsons meme.
Stop! Stop! He's already dead.
I think at this stage, this applies to George Russell. His 2026 season started so well, but after that, he was dealt blow after blow. And now his dream of becoming a Formula 1 world champion is dead. Seeing his sad face after every failed race could make you feel sorry for the guy, seeing how hard he worked to get in this position. But then, he did something in the race that may have changed my empathy towards Russell again. I wonder if I'm alone in that. So, should we take pity on George Russell? I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. In a previous video about Russell, I went through all the events of the 2026 F1 season and his bad luck. I'm not doing that again. He arrived in Monaco with a 43-point deficit and told reporters that the pressure is on his young teammate now. He said that it was his championship to lose now and that he was going to enjoy every race as he had nothing to lose. It sounded pretty cocky again, to be honest, and the media called it mind games and immediately asked Antonelli about it. Antonelli said that it was impossible to lose something if you haven't won it yet. I thought that was pretty clever, and it reminded me of another championship, but let's not get into that now. In Monaco, Russell had the opportunity again to set things straight, assert his dominance over his junior driver. But that didn't really pan out at all. The most important day of the Monaco Grand Prix weekend is the Saturday, where the drivers navigate their huge cars through the narrow streets to get a fast time during qualifying. With the Monaco track being very low on power demand, this felt like Formula 1 racing again, how it was meant to be, without battery gimmicks. Long story short, his teammate got pole, Verstappen P2 and Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc on the second row. Isaac Hadjar P5 and then we saw George Russell. Not really a great position to show your teammate who's boss, but sure. The race started and Verstappen immediately lost his engine. So an easy P4 was there for Russell. However, something was going on in the pit lane. One driver after another received penalties for speeding in the pit lane. As it turned out, the drivers had set their average speed in the pit lane at a certain point, and the cars will stick to that as long as you take the same line every time you go through the pit lane. Now, if you're in a hurry and at the end of the pit lane you go left a little bit too early, the time will be shorter and you get a penalty. This happened to loads of drivers, so it made no difference for his position, effectively. But then, during a safety car, they pitted Antonelli and Russell wasn't sure if he should come in or not. The safety car let them through the pit lane, so maybe he had to take his penalty there and then. I'm not sure what went wrong there, but they changed Russell's tyres without taking the 5-second penalty. I don't know if they counted the time he was stationary behind Antonelli, or if some of the pit crew just forgot he had the penalty. The penalty wasn't served, so after a restart after a red flag, it became clear Russell had a drive-through penalty. A huge penalty as the whole grid was bunched up, and he would fall out of the points. At this stage I felt a wee bit sorry for him. Yes, he was snitching on Hadjar earlier for dropping too much behind the safety car, and he is generally unlikable most of the time, but this was pretty rough. But then he did something that made me lose my sympathy straight away. I couldn't believe that a driver, who's director of the GPDA and is always going on about safety and the rules, did something so dangerous. And I was shocked that nobody made a big deal out of it. Like, what the fuck? The Monaco Grand Prix was a very dull affair for about 50 laps. Then some chaos occurred, which had nothing to do with racing. And then we finished. There was a lot of uncertainty about who finished where in the results. We had Hadjar on the podium, but the stewards were looking at what the mechanics did during the red flag. Gasly finished P3, but was demoted after 2 penalties that were hanging above his head, something that really upset him. And Sergio Perez scored Cadillac's first point, only to be taken away and given to Alonso, because twice Perez messed up at the start. First he started in the wrong place on the grid, and the second time he was out of his box. Very sloppy Checo, pendejo. The restart where Russell committed his crime was after a red flag caused by Charles Leclerc crashing during a safety car period. Russell knew he had a drive-through penalty, so after the standing start He backed the whole pack up by driving really slowly. And then he sped up again to finish with a gap and maybe get a point out of it. Now, driving slowly in Monaco to create a gap for a teammate is something that is done every season, which is fine. The cars have sufficient gaps after a few laps, and the cars are in race trim, cruising along. But after a start, drivers in the midfield or in the back are fighting, trying to overtake each other. If a driver up front drives way slower than expected, the whole grid concertinas and accidents happen. Carlos Sainz was a victim of that twice. He was hit by Hulkenberg and Colapinto, if I'm correct. I thought it was a ridiculous thing to do, and what the hell for? To gain a point? Or was it deliberate to cause crashes out of spite? That looks like borderline violence to me. George Russell is a guy who says things like, "That's the rules," or "That's really dangerous" all the time, using his position as director of the GPDA to manipulate stewards into handing out penalties that we've never seen before. Yes, I'm talking about the one-place grid drop for stop and got in Qatar. But now that he has got the standard penalty for not serving another penalty correctly, he moans that the penalty doesn't fit the crime. Then, all of a sudden, the rules are something you can bend to suit the situation. F that, you hypocrite. Another thing that pissed me off was the lukewarm reaction from the media afterwards. I'm 100% convinced that if Verstappen or Alonso had done the exact same thing, they'd rave on about it for days. About the gamemanship, the dangerous driving, the risk they took. I don't know, man. Maybe the British media thought Russell had suffered enough at this stage. They didn't want to pile on to him because, metaphorically speaking, he's already dead. Well, I don't pity him at all. This is what happens when you yap as much as he does. He's always talking like he invented it all, and always tried to bend things to his benefit. Did you know he went to the stewards during the red flag to argue his case, trying to bend things to wriggle out of a looming penalty? Well, Mr. Russell, try to bend the situation in your garage to your benefit, since you know it all so well. Because all I hear him say is that the car doesn't suit him anymore. This is after he was singing the car's praises in Australia.
Very nice, I like this car, I like this engine.
He changed his tune a lot in interviews after the race. My driving style's just not working with the car at the moment, so we need to understand it. He said that the car wasn't bringing out the best of his natural driving style and he will need to push for setup changes. Well, good luck with that. Kimi Antonelli is driving the wheels off that package. Flawless quali laps, flawless race laps, that kid surprises me more with each race. Every time I do predictions, I don't let Kimi win, because it has to stop sometime, right? Well, as long as George Russell keeps losing, Kimi Andrea Antonelli can keep winning. Do you feel the same, or am I being a mean old bastard here? Let me know in the comments and subscribe. Take care now. Doei doei.